swing back the other way. The next thing we know, we're playing trash to try to beat his trash. Got a good show for you today. We got a hand history. We've got a chart that we're going to go over and a trade that I took that I want to show you. I'll update you on the bankroll. I'll update you on the account as we always do. But first, we're going to talk about this. The NFL kicked off this week, and it was a fun week. It started off with the Lions beating the Chiefs in a very fun game. I feel like the Lions are kind of becoming America's team, like this underdog team that everyone's rooting for. They've been bad forever. They got Dan Campbell at the helm. He's a wild man, and he's running quite the team. They're definitely fun to watch, so really enjoyed that. But we get through the first week. We get to Sunday Night Football. It's the Cowboys and the Giants. Not my two favorite teams, but hey, the division was really good last year, and it put 3 teams into the playoffs. I think that's pretty exciting, and so at least this game should be kind of fun to watch. This game got out of hand in a hurry. It was terrible for the Giants. They got absolutely smashed by the Cowboys, 40-0. It was kind of like me deciding I'm going to invade Canada with a pair of boxing gloves and just walking across the border trying to knock some Mounties off their horses. Obviously, the odds of me taking down Canada are less than 50% if I'm just walking in there with a pair of boxing gloves. I think they have at least like 6 or 7 guys on horses. I don't think I could take 6 or 7 guys. So their military is probably slightly stronger than I am. So by halftime, this game is a blowout. They pan over to the sideline. They're running out of things to say. They zoom in on a guy, and he's got, the eye black all over his face. And I didn't really think anything other than just like, man, that's a lot. But my buddy Adam went out and found us the meme of the week. Let's go to it right now. So check this out. This guy was just a couple of stripes of eye black away from a PR nightmare. I love this meme. I think it's so good and really funny. Adam, thanks for the laughs, man. Thanks for sending it in. If you have a good one, please send it to me. Would love to see what you have, and yours may be the meme of the week next week. Let's get on to the next segment with a hand history. Hand of the week is an interesting one this time. So I get ace-queen offsuit. I'm in the straddle. We're playing 1-3. And the main villain in this hand has about 350 to start the hand. He goes, call, call. He's to my right. We've been talking for quite a while. He's been giving some action to the table and saying he wants more action. He makes the call. It gets to me. I have ace-queen offsuit, and I'm not going to call here or check my option. I'm going to raise this one up, so I make it $40. It goes fold, fold, and it comes back to Monty, who is on my right, and he now bumps it up to $140. I pause for a second. What is he doing this with? Like, if you have, if you're under the gun and you're going to limp aces, ace, kings, stuff like that, kings, you see that all the time. It's a pretty common tactic. See if you can get somebody to raise behind you, get some calls, and then blast them and just try to take all that dead money pre-flop. Really common. But he's calling and then giving me the option just to check behind with the majority of my range that won't want to make a raise here. So then I have to ask, what is he calling with that he's not raising with, that now he wants to try to make a raise? And as a player who's been saying, hey, I want action at this table, let's get things going, all that stuff, it makes me think, okay, maybe he's got like pocket 5s through pocket 9s, something like that, where he didn't feel good about raising, maybe 8s, maybe not so high, but somewhere in that range where he doesn't feel great about raising it up, knowing that he's going to be out of position to me in case I make a raise, but then decides, hey, I'm not going to call this $40 raise. That's a little too much. So I either need to fold or re-raise. This is just my thinking. I don't know. So he ends up bumping it up to $140. And it doesn't make a ton of sense to me. I've also seen him play some hands and then lay them down by either the flop or the turn. And so it makes me think that I have the chance to steal this one, even if I don't hit on the board. I have position. So I'm going to get some information. And so I make the call. And he now announces all in, blind, before the flop. This stinks because it takes away all my options. Now I basically have to hit a hand. Flop is Jack 7-4, all spades. He's all in. And at this point, I can't call, right? There's 2 overcards. I just can't call. He's beating me with almost everything. So I pause. I'm just kind of doing the little Hollywood thing. And he flips up pocket queens now. And he doesn't have a spade. So now it gets really interesting, but my hands are tied. There's no room to maneuver. I can't bluff him off of anything. And I was kind of wishing I had some chips and he had some chips so that I could put him in an interesting spot here. If I was like, yeah, okay, let's go. I don't think I would, but it brought that question to mind. Anyway, he ends up giving a bunch of action. He wins this hand. And then he ends up taking his chips and moving on to the next table because he gets called to the next table. I don't know why he turned the queens up. I don't know if it was he thought I had like ace king and thought I had 2 overs and he just wanted it over with and he didn't want me to take another card or what, but gave me a lot of information. If I had a spade with that hand that I was holding, probably calling the over plus the spade, I probably end up throwing the money in. Anyway, I bring this hand up because I think it's interesting to talk about giving action to a player who is action. And what that does for your game. And I'm not saying you should do this all the time, but I think it's okay in like a spot where you wouldn't maybe normally get involved, but you've got an interesting opponent who's, being aggressive, kind of getting the game going, doing some unusual things, and making things fun. I think it's okay to give a little action back and try to keep that going, because typically a player like that, the chips are going to flow in and out of their stack a lot. And so you give some action, and then you get in a spot later where you're more of a favorite, and then you're hoping that they'll reciprocate, that they're willing to now play back at you. And so I think that's an okay thing to do. Tell me your thoughts down below. Do you agree or disagree? If you've got a player at your table that's giving action and doing unusual things to kind of make things fun and make them lively, do you give some action, or do you tighten up and just play like normal? All right, we're now moving to a new segment that I am calling Your Opponent. All right, so this also happened at a recent session that I played. Playing a hand where there are 3 players involved. The cutoff raises, there is a call from the small blind, who is your opponent, and then there is a call in the big blind. The flop comes out king, king, 4 rainbow. Small blind checks. The big blind makes a bet. The cutoff now raises. It comes back to the small blind, who makes the call. The big blind now re-raises again. It goes back to the cutoff, who re-raises a 4th time, and now it gets to the small blind, and the small blind is our opponent. He spends some time looking at the players and then decides to throw in his cards. He folds. And then the hand plays out. They go back and forth. They both show kings. So then he says, yeah, I play a lot online. I play almost every day online. And so I was just really able to tell what was going on there and was able to put you guys on a king. I knew that at least one of you had a king. So I knew my hand was no good because I play online a lot. So I play a lot of online, and that helps me. It helps me be really good at poker because I can, I just play a lot and I really know what I'm doing. So like I could tell that you had a king, even though you didn't show it to me before you even showed the cards. I just knew from playing online that it was definitely a king. It was definitely like a good hand because I just was able to read the situation because I play so much online. And being an online player gives me a huge advantage over people like you who don't play online. So I play online a lot. And so people like you are idiots, and people like me, like I'm kind of brilliant and I really know what I'm doing because I play online. Tell me below if you've played against this guy. He went on to tell us how much he plays and how great he is and how he knows how to play poker so well because he plays online. I don't know how he was able to sniff out that there was a king out there given the action. I mean, this was a really sneaky play. The guy's brilliant. Brilliant. So that's your opponent. Now let's talk about stocks. I made an interesting move for a swing trade this week. Let's get into it with the next segment, I Charted. So earlier this week, I was watching UPS as a stock. I basically started watching it when they got into contract negotiations just because I found it interesting. Kind of wanted to see what the company was doing. I didn't realize how much they were making. If you're not aware, UPS drivers make a stupid amount of money. I can't believe how much they get for driving truck. Good on them. Happy that they make it. I'm not upset or frustrated that they do. I'm always happy when somebody makes a good amount, but I could not believe how much they were getting to deliver packages. Good, really good for them. So, all right, so here's why I just started watching it kind of out of that interest, and then I was looking over the chart recently and noticed a trend developing. So I basically drew a line here, and you can see here and here. You can see these pivot lows where it bounces high, comes back through this, and it gets into kind of a negative channel here where it's declining, but it pivots again here. And it made this move. It touched this low, kissed it, and then came up and closed on the high side of that negative move. So it bounced and then came up here. So I made a purchase on this, and I'm basically expecting this to happen. And somewhere in this range between, I bought it at 160, and I'm assuming somewhere around 175 to 180 is where I'm going to try to, it's basically my exit strategy, right? I'm going to try to be getting out around that point. So looking at this move, so far it came up a little bit. Markets were really negative. Now, the stock didn't decline on Friday. Today is Friday, but it didn't decline very much on that move. So it basically stayed flat while the markets went down significantly. And so I'm expecting that we'll see this. I've got a stop loss in there, and I'm following it pretty tight because I'm not expecting it to get down into here. So I've got it set, my stop loss is set around 156, and I'm expecting to get this move in and then be able to just like follow it up with my stop loss. And then I'm going to go ahead and cash it out if it ever hits 180. If it gets to 175, I'll just be getting really tight with my stop behind it. So expecting to make about $10 to $15 a share, maybe as much as 20. And we'll see what happens. Nothing I tell you is investing advice. Do it for yourself. Be convicted. Know why you're buying something. Don't buy it because Sean said it. I don't know what I'm doing well enough to give you financial advice, so don't take this as financial advice. Normally, I tell you where my poker bankroll account is at, but there was no session this week. I'm going to be playing here soon, but I did not get to play this week, so I have no update there. Let's get to the investment account and talk about where that went over the week. All right, last week, finished the week with $9,051.18. You can see right here that this week we finished with $9,095.23. So we ended up, but today this is Friday. It was a pretty terrible day in the markets today. So some of the trades that we've been in, we definitely were well ahead of this. We were up another, $60 as of yesterday, but the markets were not super friendly today. Saw a pretty good decline, and so that hit the account a little bit. We talked about this chart last time. I marked it up, and I haven't changed anything. So I'll just zoom in here a little bit and show you that I'm still basically waiting. It did reject off this level like I expected it to, but we haven't broken out of the channel. So this parallel channel is still holding as of right now. We are finding that resistance here like we expected. And so now it's just a question of, do we break down or is it going to bounce and get through these and get up? So still waiting to see what happens there, but starting to look a little more negative. We've set a high and then a low and then a lower high, and it appears we're going lower again. So we might be starting to build a bit of a bear trend. Nothing's firm yet, but we're still in the channel, just hitting resistance, maybe turning around. This week I'll be getting back to the tables and playing some more poker, so hopefully I have another session to share with you that's exciting and some interesting hands. The vlog is close, you guys. I'm trying to manage a lot of things, but it is close to being out. So next episode coming soon. In the meantime, if you have a meme of the week that you want to submit, the info is in the description below. Please send it my way. It's a lot of pressure for Adam to keep coming up with these. I know he can do it because he's the man, but it's a lot on his shoulders. So if you have a good one, submit it down below so we can put it in here and include it in these episodes. Thanks for watching. Have a great week, and I will talk to you next time.